So as you just heard, progressives are still frustrated with moderates, Democratic Senators Kyrsten Sinema and Joe Manchin. Here's Congresswoman Cori Bush putting it bluntly.
Have Kyrsten Sinema come to my district and meet with my folks in St. Louis. Have her come and meet with those that sleep on the street. Have her come and meet with those who have to go to the food pantry once a month and still don't have enough food to make it through the month.
And Congresswoman Cori Bush of Missouri joins me now. Congresswoman, thank you so much for your time. I know it's a super busy day on Capitol Hill. We've been looking forward to talking to you, particularly since we found out what Joe Manchin wants. He has put out some details. I'll put those up for our viewers. He wants the top line on that Build Back Better plan to be $1.5 trillion. In other words, not $3.5 trillion. He wants to begin debate October 1st, so not today be the deadline. He wants to block any funds from this reconciliation bill being used until the COVID relief funds are exhausted. And then a corporate tax rate of 25% at the top line, top individual tax rate 39.6. What does this change for you?
This is absolutely absurd. We are talking about people's lives and livelihoods. We're talking about people who need relief now. We're talking about those who elected us to come here and bring home deliverables because some of them were already struggling pre-COVID. And for him to say that it's good enough to, let's push some things to the side, let's lower this number, we want to make, his requests, are he talking about regular everyday people in our communities? Because if he's not, let me introduce him to some. And as a matter of fact, he can come and speak with me. I can tell him what it's like to be a regular everyday person needing the benefits that will come with a real reconciliation package, which we made. The deal was already, so the compromise was the $3.5 trillion. So if he just wants to talk to somebody about it, like, come talk to me and I'll tell you what it's like to not be able to pay for your child care, to not be able to pay for your medications and your rent at the same time. We can talk about what it's like to not be able to go to college because you cannot afford it. He and I can have that conversation, or he can come to my district and talk about it. This is the fact that one person who is not affected by what would come out of this Build Back Better Act. He's not affected by it personally, but the people in our communities all across this country are. They deserve a voice. The people have to win, and it is unconscionable that he can stand puffed up and hold the line on something that hurts people now, and to say that I'll toss you some crumbs right now and then hopefully you can say you ate. It's not good enough, and I won't stand for it.
The last we heard was from Speaker Pelosi that this vote on the bipartisan infrastructure bill was still going to happen today. Is that your understanding?
I'm hearing both that it can, that it may not, just kind of going back and forth. But either way, I'm ready, because if it comes to the floor, I'm voting no. So hopefully my colleagues are going to hold the line, which we have had conversations, and they are, and ready. We are ready to vote it down today. We're ready if it comes to the floor.
But you are hearing from Nancy Pelosi or other leaders that they may be delaying it.
Yeah, I mean, I've actually seen some social media that said that, so I'm not, it's not, I need to hear from the speaker, and I'll know when they call our votes.
Why don't you believe that if you vote today on the $1.5 trillion bipartisan infrastructure, that you'll ultimately get what you want? Why don't you have faith of 1.2 trillion? Why don't you have faith that you will then be able to get a bigger social safety net spending bill?
Because the two main people who have been the most outspoken and who have had all the conversations with the White House, the two folks, Senators Manchin and Sinema, who are the ones that have been the ones to stall, what I would say, this process, they haven't cared to take care of our communities up to now, regular everyday people up to now. The fact that we're having this conversation, the fact that this still is going on, that says to me that I can't trust them with the people of St. Louis, not at all. And so I don't trust them to take care of them after they get what they want. If they got that vote, if the vote happened today and if it passed, I don't trust them to take care of St. Louis. And so I will hold out and make sure that St. Louis gets what we need If it has to go past today, I'm ready to stay here. Look, this is our work as Congress members, as legislators here in the United States. We are in this federal position to make sure that our nation is taken care of. And that has to mean we start with those who have the very least. And if they're not willing to do it, someone else will. Just like he said, maybe you need to, I heard him say that, Senator Manchin say that you need to elect more progressives, more liberals, he said. Well, you know what? Let's do that.
Do you worry at all, Congresswoman, that if you vote down the $1.2 trillion infrastructure plan and all of the jobs that would come with it, that you progressives and Democrats as a whole, and even President Biden, will be held responsible at the polling booth in the midterms and then for President Biden's reelection?
I believe we will get a reconciliation package.
Meaning that if you vote it down,
meaning that this is not the end. This is not the end. If we vote that down today, it's not the end. We continue to work. We continue to build. We continue to legislate. I do not believe that today that this is the end if we vote this down and that the people won't receive what they need. No, what this is people believing in what we've said. If we say that we need these investments for our communities, then we meant what we said. And so hold us to that. So I'm not a person to say one thing and mean another. I'm not one person to say one thing and bend. St. Louis does not deserve somebody who will bend or compromise. I'm willing to work with people, but when I give you my answer, that's my answer. No is no, yes is yes. There's nothing in between. So we'll continue to work after today, because it's our job to do so.
I'd like to switch gears, Congresswoman, to another really important committee hearing that happened today, and something very personal. And that was that you publicly shared your story of having an abortion as a teenager. And your story, Congresswoman, is heartbreaking on so many levels. You were 17 years old on a church trip. You say you were raped by a young man on that trip, and you got pregnant. And you were broke, and if you had not had an abortion, you would have had to carry your rapist's child to term. Why today did you feel it was important to share that personal story?
With the attacks all over this country, with all of these anti-abortion bans, these new laws from Texas to my own state of Missouri, where the state legislature did pass a law to ban abortions at 8 weeks with no restrictions for incest or rape. I was not equipped. I was not able. I was not well enough at the time to carry a child or to have a child, let alone to have the child of a rapist. It was my decision to make. It was one where no one else was going to take care of that child for me. And I feel like if there is any moment to speak up right now with all that's happening, if we are okay with speaking up, for those of us that can, some won't, and that's okay. But for those of us that can, we have to step up however we can right now in this moment, because we cannot allow this attack on our bodies, on our rights, to happen, right? This is 2021. We cannot allow this to happen. And not only that, when we talk about today being the 45th anniversary of the Hyde Amendment, we haven't come far enough. We have so much further to go, but right now we can't go backwards. And so I had to speak up, because you know what? My story, hopefully, and the story of my colleagues, Representatives Barbara Lee and Pramila Jayapal, hopefully those stories will help change hearts and minds.
And I know it's not easy to talk about this. What has it been like to share this story publicly? It's very difficult. It's so much.
at the same time, because not only am I opening myself up to those things which I kept inside of me for so long that seemed to be like those things that were hurtful and shameful, you know, that I just never really dealt with, but also knowing that other people will listen to it and not understand and will just pull it apart, not realizing that they're hurting people in their own communities. That's why so many people don't come forward, because we don't get the grace, we don't get the mercy to be able to be regular. We don't get that extended to us. And so, you know, I could barely speak when I started to give my testimony earlier today. Like, I felt like something was pressing upon my chest. It was very difficult. But the more I thought about who could be helped, somebody else needs to hear this, somebody else has gone through this, somebody else may take this, and then maybe we can get some legislation, maybe we can get more pushed through, maybe we can get more pushed through, maybe we can get, you know, really codify Roe versus Wade. We can get this to happen now, and we can push away things like what Senator Manchin said, to put the Hyde, you know, have the Hyde Amendment in the, you know, in the bill. I am so thankful for those who have stood up and who have been able to be vulnerable in this moment to tell their stories. And I want to speak right now to every single Black woman and girl who has been hurt, been pushed back, who has felt like they were unworthy because of the things that not only happen, that happens all across our healthcare system. You know what? You are worthy. Your life matters. You are amazing. You are beautiful, and you hold your head high, whether you've had an abortion or you plan to. You hold your, and that's for everybody. Hold your head high, hold your shoulders back, because this is your decision to make, and you stand strong.
Congresswoman Cori Bush, we know this has been a very intense day for you. We really thank you for your time and your message.
Thank you.